Welcome. Welcome, everyone. I'm Angelo Robles. The ground beneath your wealth structure is shifting and shifting right now. I need to tell you something that your advisors won't. Your family office was built for a world that no longer exists. For over 20 years, I've been working inside the command centers for more than 100 billionaire incredible families across multiple continents. I've seen, I've seen what separates the dynasties that compound wealth across generations from the ones, most, that quietly regress into irrelevance, often in a single generation, for sure, most commonly within a couple. Here's what I've learned. The families that survived stopped. It's too hard trying to figure it out all alone. But first, I think I need to give a little bit of a foundation for why the world is different now and what's actually happening right now. Over the past century, the S&P returned roughly 9%. But the money supply, it grows 8 to 10% a year. Then I'm factoring in inflation and taxation. You're not really adding to your purchasing power of compounding generational wealth. Honestly, you're kind of treading water. While your statements compound in nominal dollars, sure, but they buy less each decade. Think of the world we're in now. I know because I'm dealing with it on some of my 0-hour consultative and simulations that I share with some of you. $30 billion family offices are being cyber breached, and so many of them, the biggest families on earth, often by nation states, in the last 18 months. Wire transfers routed mid-flight, trust documents, well, sold to the highest bidder. And none of them, of course, you don't know until it's too late. Let's take a look at mining assets. Stay with me. Represent 1% of the before mentioned S&P 500. That's the lowest ratio in recorded history. While AI will obviously demand more copper, silver, lithium, and rare earths at scales that just don't currently exist on the planet. Intelligence and power and energy is converting into intelligence is becoming free, but materials remain finite. And the advisors who structured your multi-$100 million, billion-dollar portfolio, let's say with 2015, they're using mental models they've used since the 80s. The ground beneath your wealth structure, as I noted, is shifting, and it's happening right now. Now, here's the critical piece. In any system, there's a zone where adaptation is still possible. And then there's what I call the compression zone, where your options collapse faster than how you and your family office could process them. Now, I will admit, acting upon some of the things I'm talking about too early could cost you some money, some chips off the table, some mitigating risk. But acting too late is going to cost you everything. Many of you heard me talk about the Detroit paradox. The automakers in Detroit were thriving decades and decades and decades ago until almost overnight they weren't. The families who waited to see proof are never going to recover. The plateau always feels stable until it isn't. Most family offices operate somewhat like fortresses. And I know that sounds good on the surface, right? Designed to protect, built to keep people out. But that protection, when you take it too far, creates blindness. Your advisors, let's face it, even many internal, effectively have conflicts of interest. Your peers won't talk openly about what's actually working. Your family, we all do, have blind spots that simply you can't see from the inside. And the cost, you're making often billion-dollar decisions and minimal with incomplete information. And you're leaving millions or billions on the table in inefficiencies you can't see from inside a single system. Meanwhile, there's a group, a small group, but a group of significant global families who solved this. They converted the isolation into what I define as shared intelligence. They built a private network where principals and significant executives share what's actually working, the frameworks, blind spots, and pattern recognition that you can't buy from your consultants. And for sure, they're operating at a velocity that I see creating, and I've been talking about this all year, a two-tier system in family offices. Tier one, using AI as a tool to synthesize complex research overnight at minimal that used to take their team a week or weeks more likely. And tier two was still debating whether to even explore AI. Now, I don't want to make this an AI conversation, although that is an important underlying theme. Let's talk about the tier one identified $8 million in annual leakage. I know because I was one of the consultants on that group that organized and structured it. Using system diagnostics, tier two, they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. Tier one converted generation two to generation three succession risk into effectively governance upgrades. Tier two is hoping, that's not a plan, that the next generation simply figures it out. This gap is not, it's not closing, it's accelerating, which is why after I sold Family Office Association and retired and just consulted occasionally to a family, why 2 years ago I built my private intelligence and strategy community, SFO Continuity. Designed for the most sophisticated families who want to adapt, improve, and move a lot faster. When you join, the year's not over yet, although many of you will hear this after the first of the year, you get, two things that other family offices don't have access to. My complete intelligence arsenal. You immediately get 2 comprehensive 600-page PowerPoints each. Yeah, it's a little scary. Handbooks that I spent years developing and adapting every month, taking you inside the ecosystems of the most successful, often billionaire families on earth. Now, the first one is titled Creating a Top 1% Family Office. And it really is my entire mythology. Everything from governance architecture, deal flow optimization, talent strategy, people, technology and systems, succession frameworks, everything I've learned from 100+ billionaire families and my own first principles thinking, systemized into a repeatable program. This is the operating system of the top 1% are running. It's long, I'll give you that. Complete frameworks, implementation systems. Now, I'm going to come back to that because it complements my family office playbook. But I have a second, what I call handbook. It's actually a little bigger than the 614 pages in the first one. It's a complement. It's called Sovereign Risk and Disaster Preparedness, effectively for billionaires. My comprehensive analysis, my consulting of existential threats to generational wealth. How the redistribution triad of war, inflation, and taxation destroys wealth across generations. Why AI-driven inequality is going to create irresistible political pressure for certainly more wealth confiscation. The multi-jurisdictional defense architecture the most incredible families need to start to build, if they haven't already, right now. This is the alarm bell that the ultra wealthy aren't hearing, and your advisors are completely incompetent to deliver it. Complete protection frameworks, actionable defense systems, how to set up structures that last over generations. Way deeper than a white paper, a complete, both of them, operational handbooks that families are deploying right now. And if you're not a member, you're not going to get it. So here's what also makes this year, as we're 2 days away from 2026, different. I'm converting both of these handbooks into full member masterclasses throughout 2026. Deep implementation sessions where you don't just read the framework, that's boring. You deploy them with peer families who are doing the same thing. Live working sessions, real constraints, political dynamics, the things that never make it. Honestly, I have to have some political correctness. They don't even make it into my handbooks, but I could discuss them openly in the masterclasses, specifically the live in-person ones. Now, I did mention I would come back to my family office playbook, 850 question framework. Took me years to write it. This is the complete diagnostic effectively I use with billionaire families to map out structural vulnerability, hidden inefficiencies and governance gaps, much more. One Texas family used my framework to identify, I mentioned, millions of dollars in annual leakage from misaligned fee structures. One diagnostic worth millions of dollars. It's a great compliment to my creating a top 1% family office. I think the most powerful 1-2 punch on excellence in the single, but it's impactful to multifamily offices as well in the industry. You get in-person access to my AI Family Office Masterclass. I am, in the family office world, a leading authority on AI deployment for family offices. My masterclass, in-person only, teaches you the frameworks that elite families are using to integrate AI effectively. It's not science fiction. It's not a $500,000 consulting engagement. Practical deployment that gives your team a velocity advantage without complexity. And in 30 days, effectively, practically all of you, even multi-billion-dollar family offices, could implement this. You could do more, better, and faster, period. It's a guarantee. Your analysts do better work when AI handles the initial research. Your executives, as I hinted, make faster decisions when AI can synthesize data in hours, not weeks. Your CEO moves on opportunities while your peers are still scheduling calls and committee meetings. One West Coast family here in the US deployed these frameworks and cut deal evaluation from effectively like 5, 6, 7 weeks to days. The same rigor, the same team, but really at what? 10 times the velocity. You get effectively a year-long digital curriculum by being a part of that in-person, which is 3 times a year I host, AI Masterclass, monthly deep dives on family office structure, strategy, all within the framework of AI integration, taught from first principles, which is better than best practices. But what's the real game changer about being part of a special private community? It's the peer network that you can't access elsewhere. And that's the real value of being part of a private community. It's dependent on the peer-to-peer intelligence sharing with the most sophisticated family offices on the planet. from New York to Palm Beach, Texas to Europe to LATAM to Asia. Principals managing hundreds of millions, often billions or decabillions of generational wealth. Executives running billion-dollar operations, all sharing the systems, framework, and thinking, the real-world lessons that, I mean, in some ways, never really make it into a white paper. When you're evaluating even co-investment, you can talk to a family who closed a similar deal in the past quarter. When you're hiring a CIO, you get insights from principals who just went through the same process that you're looking to go through. When you're navigating next-gen succession, you learn from families who converted effectively that risk, and it's a huge risk, into a governance upgrade. Not consultants, not advisors with conflicts, but peers with skin in the game. Now, I'm not done with the benefits. You get quarterly master classes. I mentioned one, the AI Family Office Masterclass, but I'm converting the 2 handbooks, Creating a Top 1% Family Office and Sovereign Risk and Disaster Preparedness, where I teach the frameworks. But even more importantly, the families in the room share how they're actually implementing them, the real constraints, their problems, their challenges, their successes, and the political dynamics that's a part of any family. Again, as I said, the things that never make it into some of the written content for a variety of reasons. I host bi-monthly roundtables, primarily in New York, once or twice a year in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. These are intimate sessions where you pressure test your specific challenges with peers, myself, and occasionally a guest, incredible thought leader and fixer, all managing similar complexities: succession planning, deal sourcing, next-gen activization, and definitely AI integration. Now, also my private forums, real-time in-person peer intelligence. When you need answers on a co-investment, a talent decision, family transition, you get real answers from families and peers that have been there and done that. This is the room where sophisticated families share what's actually working. These are exclusive 2 or 3 times a year in-person gatherings where the most sophisticated family offices globally come together. Now, depending on when you're watching this, I'm going to share one that's under a month away. It's what I call Family Office Day in Miami, the beautiful Ritz-Carlton, January 26th. A single day, closed door intelligence session for probably 40 to 45 families. We'll map the frameworks that separate the family offices that are really looking to build, I would say, for centuries, from family offices hoping to survive the transitions and challenges of the next couple of years. I'll go far deeper into the Detroit paradox. I'll talk about the Medici family pivot, the AI-proof investment matrix, multi-jurisdictional structuring, elite investor intelligence, and 2026 will be a very interesting year. And you'll actually meet, more than thought leaders, some of my fixers along with me, as I call them. Cyber defense architects, residency strategists, former intelligence operatives who solve problems that your white shoe advisors often don't even know exist. Now, then in March 16th through the 19th, to be exact, is my annual marquee program, my Palm Beach Single Family Office Forum. Now we go deep over 4 days and have fun too. This is really where you find out how systems collapse slowly and then often all at once. Over 4 days, you'll sit with the architects of kind of the new family office operating system. Not consultants pitching services, not academics theorizing. The operators who actually have built three-person family office teams managing tens of billions of dollars. The fixers who get called when the impossible becomes necessary. The strategists who structure multi-jurisdictional fortresses. The investors who have rewritten the entire decision framework because AI just commoditized every moat that they probably paid 30 times earnings for. You'll really see the organizational charts, the vendor ecosystems, the AI architects, because we got 4 days to make this happen. I'll share the breach scenarios at the $500 million family office level. I'll talk about the assistant's iPhone indirectly that gave it all away and what you could do about it. Actual international trust structures, decision matrix when intelligence is no longer scarce, the relationships that matter when your lawyer, your doctor, your banker can't help you. It's 2 a.m. on a Friday and you need something done by Sunday. Sessions on the transition from financial assets to hard assets, gold re-evaluation scenarios. Wait to see what's going to happen there with the US government. The rise of collectivist ideology, building escape velocity, the conviction stock portfolio inside a CI, a single family office's CEO, actual operations sharing their excellence, the 5 jurisdictional fortress, why your durable moats are evaporating, cybersecurity reality, the future of real estate, gold, Bitcoin, stablecoins, venture capital's evolution, AI and robotics, building the family office. There's nothing like the 4 days that I put together in Palm Beach. This upcoming March 16th through the 19th in Palm Beach. You're going to meet the fixers, even more than what I got in Miami. Intelligence operatives, medical concierges with direct lines to the Mayo Clinic and Sloan Kettering, crisis managers who worked for sovereign wealth funds and heads of state. 4 days, at the most 50 families. This is the most comprehensive reconstruction of wealth preservation thinking that exists anywhere. I spend months and months putting this together with other incredible thought leaders and fixers. Now, trust requires time. The conversations that happen on day 3, after shared meals, after someone says something that challenges your assumptions, after you realize the person across from you is maybe operating at a different level. Like the families who leave don't leave with pitch decks. What they leave with is with knowledge, actionable strategies, and relationships that compound over decades. So let me be direct about what you're actually paying for with my private intelligence and strategy community to be one of my members at SFO Continuity. You're not just paying $10,000 annually for content. You're paying for immediate access to 2 incredibly comprehensive handbooks that I referenced earlier on creating a top 1% family office and sovereign risk preparedness. You're paying for the family office playbook, for the monthly and bi-monthly unique gatherings. You're paying to be in a room when I convert the handbooks into both digital and live masterclasses throughout 2026. You're paying for AI integration frameworks that no one in the family office world has the capability of giving you. Real, actionable things that you could do that I implement, and I've implemented for some of the largest family offices on earth, some of them that attended multiple of my AI masterclasses over this past year. You're paying for direct peer access to the most sophisticated family offices globally. And I mentioned you're paying to be a part of what I'm doing in Miami on January 26th, and 4 days to be a part of something special in Palm Beach, where you'll really learn about excellence, overcoming challenges, solving problems, and operating at 10 times velocity, and much more. I got so much new content on the plate to begin to deliver in 2026 and already planning for 2027. And I didn't even get into some more social soirees and lunches in New York, Vienna, LA, as well as the before mentioned Miami and Palm Beach. You're paying to stop making consequential decisions in total isolation. You're paying to collapse 5 years of trial and error into perhaps 5 conversations with people and families that already solved it. You're paying to see the patterns you cannot see. It's not your fault. No one could. From inside a single system. It's not really education. It's decision arbitrage through shared intelligence. Now, as we begin to conclude, here's what you need to understand about the timing. I've worked with a European dynasty that preserved capital over 500 years. Imagine surviving to this day and thriving. The Black Death, multiple wars, the collapse of multiple empires, the Weimar hyperinflation in Germany, communist seizures, currency resets in dozens of jurisdictions. Now, this is really important to understand. They didn't survive because they chased alpha or optimized tax rates, all things that do have value. But they survived because they understood principles that most modern and most family offices are under 10 years old. They're going to collapse. They're not going to make it. They survived because what these modern family offices have forgotten. Now, don't forget, the average lifespan of a government-issued currency, it's 27 years. Gold, by the way, has been money for 5,000 years and has never been worthless. These dynastic families, here's the key point, these dynastic families optimize, and I know several of them in Europe over 500 years and 2 in Asia. They optimize for survival of capital across centuries and regimes, not necessarily tax rates, like you're asking which country has low tax rates, and you should. That can have some arbitrage, but maybe you should really be asking, how do I ensure that my capital survives the next 100 years regardless of what happens? I guarantee you wealth doesn't survive by accident. It survives by design. And I do think the window for adaptation, for gaining an edge and arbitrage, for a variety of reasons, government controls and AI being a part of it, I think that window is getting more and more narrow. 6 months from now, there will be family offices operating at 10 times velocity with peer intelligence from global families, AI integration giving their teams unprecedented analytical capacity, comprehensive handbooks on creating elite operations and sovereign risk preparedness, and multi-jurisdictional structures designed, as I noted, for regime survival, not just tax optimization. But there will be many, and most, family offices still building the future, not only alone, but with yesterday's playbooks. I guarantee, now they do have to take the actions, but I guarantee the families inside SFO continuity, they're going to have an edge. It's for sure. And by the way, they are not necessarily smarter than you. They just stopped trying to see around corners alone. And that does bring up the question in terms of what side, so to speak, are you going to be on? Now, I'm recording this among the last days of the year. It'll probably, you never know with me, be my last public program here with 2 days to go in 2025. As you can see, I'm excited and have a lot of things planned for 2026 and already new books and initiatives kind of ready to go for 2027. This has been an incredible year. I was very early, even before this year, in AI, and I was 100% correct. 100%. All of you, I'm way, way too early. Nonsense. This was an incredible opportunity for you from an investing perspective, an operational perspective, understanding how the world works, the US and China, geopolitical, and a deeper purpose. Much deeper. So yes, I'm going to pat myself on the back. I was correct about that. Many of you are going to watch this probably somewhere in the first month or quarter of 2026. It is not too late. I mentioned, and yes, a little bit of an infomercial, what I offer in my private intelligence and strategy community as a membership organization by being a part of SFO continuity. My friends, I've been in this community a long time, and I've made every mistake. I built Family Office Association at its peak to be one of the most incredible membership organizations in the world. And then I probably did everything. I could argue COVID, but that's me making excuses to kind of make a mess of it. My bad. I wish them nothing but the best moving forward. And I'm sure they have some wonderful people that are going to be leading it. But I'm really excited about what I'm doing and how more intimate it is, and a chance to flex my intellectual rigor and to openly discuss topics that no one else in the family office community is talking about. I dove deep this year into Trump, macroeconomics, the US versus China, Lord knows AI, a lot of broadly geopolitical issues and the implications. I even did deep dives in person and in videos on Mondani and the rise of socialism. Not only here in New York, but broadly, that's going to be a big thing moving forward through the midterms and the next election. All things that others do have opinions on, they're just afraid to talk about them. I'm not. I have no investors. I have no board to answer to. I've been there and done that. I know how terrible that could be. It has some advantages to have that, but I need to be me, even when I'm wrong. I am opinionated. I'd like to hope that I have strong opinions, weakly held. A poker player, as new information comes in, I need to adapt. And I've read Annie Duke's books, by the way, so many of them the last quarter. Wow. And some of that content, with credit to her, makes it into my creating a top 1% family office about how to really think. And that's an important thing is, do we really know how to think anymore? Are we simply a product of what gets fed to us by our parents, our school system, what we read? I mean, all ways to absorb information, but are we really learning to think for ourselves, to break things down, to have first principles thinking, to have cause and effect thinking? I had to break everything down and relearn that and adapt and do this every day, and it still is hard. I get it. You may be a little older and have a level of success, and letting ignorance and ego get in the way. Don't do that. I know it's tempting, and it is the easy way out. You're better than that. So yes, I'm proud of what I'm building. Yes, I want you to be a part of it. Of course, I want you to go to angelorobles.com and stop procrastinating. Just join. Maybe it's a good time right now before the end of the year. Maybe it's better, I don't know, sometime early in 2026. Your call. I do a lot for my members. I actually think I don't get utilized by them enough. I want them to use me more. I have so much incredible talent and resources coming out and early in 2026. It's going to be incredible. And sure, I'll have some one-off masterclasses for non-members to pay and join. I do some consulting assignments. I did about 5 or 6 for non-members this year. One of them was rather comprehensive, so it did take a fair amount of work, but they're intellectually invigorating and exciting. I love this industry. Love it. I hope you all look forward, no matter what happened this year, we'll have an incredible 2026. Now, again, some of you may be watching this deep into 2026, but this is evergreen. What I'm saying about the things that I'm doing that membership provides and the context of it within the framework of geopolitics, macroeconomics, the big picture in AI, it's not really going to change in a day, a month, 6 months, or probably even in a year. It's all going to accelerate. All of it. Exciting times, sure, and a little scary. The world that you know, that you've known, is very simply changing. Capitalism as you know it, when energy costs go to near zero, AI will figure that out, and robotics make actual production go to near zero. Everything you know is going to change. Making money, protecting money, having a sense of purpose. How do you define value and sense of happiness within you, in family? What are your children and grandchildren going to do? These are all incredible questions. Some of them we have tackled in 2025 and much more ahead, both digital and mainly in person, especially for my members in 2026. And I'm in the same boat. I got skin in the game. I have a 22-year-old. I understand. You're only as happy probably as your least happy child or grandchild. It's a burden, but one that I enjoy. I have more questions than I have answers. I hope you appreciated some of the content that I outputted this year. It's a little different. I could be a little bombastic. Not everyone's cup of tea. I totally understand that. This is going to be an incredible 2026. Would love for you again to go to angelorobles.com and simply join, become a member. I promise you, I give it all I got. I got unique content that no one's doing. And more importantly, my Rolodex of thought leaders and fixers might be the best in the industry. And I have incredible peers and families. I look to learn from all of you as well. I appreciate you. Thank you all so much. You could email me at angelo@angelorobles.com. You could even text me at 203-570-2898. I appreciate all of you. I hope you're having a wonderful holiday season as we wrap up the year, and that you're going to have an incredible 2026. I appreciate you. Thank you all for your comments, even those that are critical and challenging. That's okay. I want that feedback. I want to get better. Sometimes you're wrong, but sometimes there's elements of what you say that are correct that I need to get better on. We all do. I have a lot of work to do. Be the best version of yourself. The best version. I'm not there yet. Maybe you are. I look forward to 2026. Thank you all so much.